Your Blazers, were quite pesky last night against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, it seemed like every time the Timberwolves got that 10, 12, 13-point lead, it's like, it's over. Now the Blazers are going to throw in the towel. They didn't. And look, I know you're missing Brogdon, you're missing Ayton in that game, you're missing Grant.
Everybody but Ant you were missing.
Right, but it felt like that almost helped them stay in the game because you have a bunch of guys that know this is their opportunity to show what they can do and help earn the next contract or keep this contract that they're on right now. And that just led to that pesky fight. And then Ant just went off from 3. Like, that's helpful.
Swag, did you watch the game?
No, it was on the second TV, sort of on and off. I was
Hockey?
Kraken
6-0, right?
No, 4-2.
Oh, 4-2. Sorry. Maybe
Yeah, and there was some extracurriculars in that. I don't know if they play again back in Seattle, but there is one Flame that will be booed the minute he touches the ice.
So the Blazers barely registered your second television, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm also in a mode where I'm trying to get organized for the trip. I'm trying to make sure there is plenty of food in the house for Lady Swag when I'm gone for essentially a week. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
You stock in your house?
Well, I got to cook it all. I do all the cooking.
She can't cook at all?
Well, she's dealing with her post-concussive stuff, so the ability to just grab, heat up. When she comes home, she's like done.
Give her the frozen burritos. 2 minutes.
No, yeah. So
Swell's better than that.
The middle school special.
No, we grilled up a bunch of chicken thighs and zucchini planks for that, and then we'll do some burger patties tonight, some shrimp, some fish, all sorts of stuff.
What players? I was wondering this yesterday watching because I'm kind of with you. I had it on an iPad.
Yeah, it was on the second screen.
There, I do a podcast on them. We talk about them on the show. We get people to tell us not to talk about them at all. That's certainly a thing. My thing is, like, largely this entire roster's not what it is. Like, when you talk about the future and being good, if they ever get there, it ain't this roster.
No.
Like, most of these dudes ain't it. There are a couple guys that I'm wondering, like, can they hang around? Can they be something, if anything at all, outside of, like, the Scoot the Shadens?
Right.
Drop's one of those.
He has really played himself into a role where if they do take that next step and they start becoming a playoff team like everyone hopes and wants, he would be a pretty quality 8th, 9th guy off the bench, but he could play some big role minutes.
I just like having a big that can shoot.
Right?
Yes.
He's not scared
You
to
got to
shoot.
have that. You got to have a 5 that can stretch the floor.
You do, and he kind of meets that. I think him and Bari, for me, are like my 2 takeaways from a role player perspective. Scoot's shooting splits are pretty trash. Shaden played 30 games, so there's no takeaway there. And maybe it'll be Ant, maybe it won't be Ant, but it doesn't feel like it's Ant. And I don't know anything about Ayton. I know he's.
I have 2 thoughts. One, watching what the Celtics did to the Warriors on Sunday. If the goal is to get to championship level, and that is championship level right now, the Blazers are so far away.
Well,
it's sad.
You may never get there. That's
Right.
a different.
The second piece
They're the favorite
is
to win everything.
okay. Even just to get to the point where it's play-in worthy, what the Lakers did to the Thunder last night. That's 9 or 10 right now. Them and the Warriors.
Yeah, but they have LeBron.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that, but I just feel like they're nowhere close to being on a path that I can see to get there.
I think you got to be careful, too, though, with comparing, like, the Golden State Warriors and the Lakers. Like, those are championship teams. Like, the way
I'm
those
talking about
rosters-
9 and 10. They're 9 and 10 in the play-in right now.
Right, so look at 9 and 10 on the East, right? 9 and 10 is
But
what,
you're not in the
You're not in the
East.
East.
You need to get.
I understand.
Stop.
I
Don't.
understand
The
that.
East sucks. There's 3 teams that matter in the East, and they need to be all healthy to matter.
Apologies
Right.
to
We're in the
East.
West. We're not getting moved to the East. We got to deal with the West.
Right. But what I'm saying is I think the East is more of a typical what a 9-10 team is going to look like
Oh, let
on
me see
most
last year's.
seasons.
I'll look up last year's 9-10 in the
Were
West.
the Kings in the play-in last year?
No, they
No,
were the 3
they
seed.
didn't have to deal
Remember?
with
They
it.
had Golden State.
And the Lakers, I almost feel like they, because they're old.
But I
they
also
wait
look
to
at the
peak
teams
later.
that are down where you are. The Rockets are figuring themselves out.
Who are the 9 and 10s last year? I'll tell you their win totals. Can you guys guess them?
In the West?
Yeah, in the West.
So Minnesota was what, 9? Or was LA 9?
Actually, this would be this is the regular season, so I believe this is proper. Minnesota was 8. I have OKC is 9,
OKC.
And the Pelicans were 10.
Well, they're both under 500.
No, the Pelicans were above 2 games, 42 and 40.
Okay.
The Thunder were 40 and 42. The Timberwolves were 42 and 40. So 42 wins is roughly where the bottom of the play-in gets you.
Right. And if you're in the play-in, you're not winning a title. But I do think that it's going to take time. It's
but the Lakers
rebuild.
were in the play-in. They got to the West Finals.
Right. Well, the Heat,
LeBron.
The Heat really should have lost.
Yeah. They
their
almost lost
game to
Chicago.
Yep. They should have lost, and then they went all the way. You're nowhere near either one of those two teams. 100%.
Well,
we're correct there.
Aren't we going the wrong way with this conversation? We all, every one of us know they're 2 or 3 years away from even sniffing this. To me, this is not. I don't know if that's the takeaway. I hear what you're saying, Swag. I'm watching the Timberwolves, and I'm like, God, I thought they would suck this year. Here they are, the top of the West. I think it's more like, are they developing pieces to continue to build with going into next? Ashton Hagens is not it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Murray, the odds are that he's not it. Tumani, I like Tumani. Odds are he might not. That's
the thing. Crack yesterday. Nobody develops role players, 8, 9, and 10 guys like the Trailblazers. But
we love our guys here.
Where are the 1, 2, and 3s?
Yeah, who's the one?
Who are the options 1, 2, and 3 for the Blazers that you have faith in and belief that will lead the path the way Dame did? It did not take long to figure out that Dame was going to be the guy to lead you to where you hopefully want to get to. Couldn't ultimately get there, but he was definitely the guy.
Well, it made the guy before him leave because he was so jealous of Dame being the guy.
Right. Well, and I mean,
you don't have that right now.
The guy before him was only the guy before him because the real guy got hurt.
Well, yes.
So that could also be something that you look into, and I know people don't stay in college that long anymore, but you look at your last 2 real guys, it's Dame and B. Roy. Those are 2 guys that stayed in college for a while, and they were developed, and so you didn't have to develop them as much when they came into the league. So that can be something as well. When you look at Shaden and you look at Scoot, they have the potential to be all these other things, but they have to go through those trials and tribulations and get thrown more to the fire that B. Roy and Dame did when they were in college.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so that could be something too where you look at it and you're like, I don't see the potential. Like, I don't see this right now. Well, what would B. Roy have looked like when he was 19? What would Dame have looked like?
B. Roy almost came out of high school. He had to be talked into going to college.
Right. So what would they like? Could they have looked the same as this? Now I'm looking at it glass half full, and it's totally fine to look at this Blazer team glass half empty because they haven't shown in any time that they've been, that they're on the right path.
I take half empty.
Right.
I don't think they're close to half empty.
I think you can make a good argument. They have done a better job making other teams better than themselves.
Yeah, and that's fair.
They took Hassan Whiteside, and what did that do for Miami? It freed up cap space. Here comes Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Look at Boston right now. How do you think they feel about getting Drew Holiday?
Well, they traded
Look at Milwaukee. They've won 6 straight games. We'll talk about them in a minute. Dame's finally kind of finding it. Scores 41 last night.
They traded up to get Zach Collins. That allowed Miami to get Bam.
The Clippers have really enjoyed having Norm Powell. Man, it's kind of weird to say this out loud. You can make an argument they've done a better job making other teams better in the last 2-3 years than they have themselves.
Right.
That sucks.
It does.
It's part of what they're doing and like what this process is, but it's also like one of those, that
sucks.
That doesn't feel great.
It sucks now. And it's one of those things where you have to have blind faith. And if you don't, I totally understand why not. I have to look at it in a positive light of, I think that there is a path. I hope that they can find it, but you're going to go through a lot of shrubbery to find the nice clearing.
I think their season ticket negotiations are underway with a lot of the people. I'll be very interested to see how that renewal rate goes. Because we've heard from listeners who have like, I got them, I was duped, I'm out. You're not going to get me again. And I don't know if that's speaking for a majority by any stretch, but I'm still curious to see how that goes for them of retaining season ticket renewal, because they're not going to be good next year. Next year's going to be a lot of the same stuff, assuming they care about trying to get Cooper Flag, and then you're in the running with like 4 or 5 other teams in that.
Right.
And so it's gonna take time. It's hard to be patient. It is. That's why I said we're not built for this in Portland, because that feels so far away. It's a long season. And it's still going, and they're not very good. They almost won last night. Ant with a great game. Wap with a great game.
Won me some money.
You took them with the points?
I took Ant over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 25 points.
There you go.
Plus 100.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm really proud about it.